Alright, what is this? I made hell noticeably worse in Mortal Sin. How did you do that? Dante's Inferno?
Mortal sin is defined as a grave offense against Catholic law. Examples include marital infidelity, stealing from others, and chopping off a man's legs and head before killing him with 50 punches to the chest. However, only one of those is relevant to today's video, because we've been sponsored to play Mortal Sin, explore its unique conflict resolution system, and
bad game, can't beat up women. I give it a 0 out of 10 already.
find some of the most broken builds in the game to punish the citizens of Hell for not being baptized. But first, what is mortal sin? Imagine if the dark fantasy setting of Berserk had a threesome with the combat from Ninja Gaiden and—
Dude, Ninja Gaiden is so good. I watched Aspen play the new one.
The soundtrack from Diablo, and then died in childbirth.
Oh! Okay, you sold me. You sold me. I love the D2 soundtrack.
What you'd get is Mortal Sin. It's a fast-paced, combo-centric dungeon crawler, which is less of a love letter to Berserk and more of a death threat. In this game, you play as the color-corrected swordsman who finds himself in a nightmarish hellscape populated by demons. These used to be people, but their sinful nature has corrupted them.
Oh no, not the furry Sonic pregnant porn!
Into soulless monstrosities of violence. If Jesus died to protect the sinners, then call me the Antichrist, because we're killing everyone here. Our objective is to fight our way through 3 different dungeons and murder the Avatar of Sin. Not for the crime of corrupting humanity, but for having a stupid name. In theory, all of that could be done without viciously decapitating thousands of people and drowning them in a sea of their own carnage. But what are you? Some kind of pussy? Mortal Sin didn't have to go this hard with its violence, but
Reggie,
it did it for us. So pick up that 500-pound sword and get to—
It really is a Berserk reference! Look at how big the clang sword
Mortal
is!
Sin didn't have to go this hard with its violence, but it did it for us. So pick up that 500—
Dude, look at that thing. It's huge. Kind of like chat.
pound sword and get to work.
Massive.
Once you clean the gore out of your eyes and look around, you'll quickly realize this game has a very distinct art style, which—
Dude, they used to make, like, things actually scary. When I was a little kid and the first time I saw my brother play D2, I ran out of the room. Yeah, I actually ran out of the room. I was so scared. And by the way, we weren't rich. We didn't have like a computer until like 2003, maybe 4. Yeah, D2 as a kid, it was terrifying. I ran out of the room and my brother had to console me because he was in the middle of the catacombs on level 2, and there was a bunch of women that I can't even describe it probably because I got demonetized on YouTube. But yeah, they're like all like split apart and shit, and it scared the shit out of me. My brother had to say it's a game.
For now could only be achieved by microwaving your eyeballs and overdosing on low-quality crack. In
LSD,
the immortal words of Joseph Diaz, I like my people with a little edge to them. If you tell me you cheat at checkers, I'm in. If you tell me you're a committed heroin addict, I'm in. And if you tell me you suck toes for breakfast, I'll be there at 8 a.m. I feel the same way about games. I want them to have a decisive identity. And say what you want, but this is definitely decisive. Unfortunately, it has come to my attention that some audiences find this style to be visually oppressive, and instead they put the game on the realistic setting. But in my opinion, that is the greatest sin of them all. It's like buying a sports car just to replace the engine with a 10-speed bicycle. This art style is a mentally ill Discord e-kit. You're not fixing her, so just enjoy the ride. As a matter of fact, I'm putting this on Piccolo and doubling the grain for the rest of the video. You can learn to cope, or you can die with all of the
I love the just induced schizo mode.
Epileptics. The choice is yours. With my dog shit opinions now permeating your brain, we can talk about the gameplay. What does it feel like? Well,
this fentanyl feels so good. Wait, he watched the whole thing! Reggie, do you have something you want to share with us? Chad, do you see this? The entire watch bar is filled. He watched the whole thing.
Well, go find a ripe bell pepper and tear it in half with your bare hands. It feels like that. Satisfying, juicy, and powerful. Mortal Sin features 16 classes, and each one of them
There's a succubus! Oh my god, holy shit, I'm in. Wait, go back. Go back. Come on! Go back! Dude, there's so many fucking frames to this game. You can be a succumami. Dude, and she's got tits. Chat. I don't know, man. I don't know.
And each one of them will gratify your sadism in new and exciting ways. Regardless of whichever class you choose, you will need to combo several different moves together to achieve maximal devastation. I have a strong aversion to the fighting game community for more than a dozen reasons. So when I found out about the comboing part, I was concerned. However, I can confidently say I haven't found any furries in-game, and no one on the subreddit has tried to groom me yet. So I think we're in the clear. Each class has around 6 unique combos to learn. That may sound overwhelming, and I won't lie, it can be difficult to remember if I'm supposed to kick, thrust, pivot, parry, dash, thrust, block, or kick, pivot, thrust, parry, dash, block, jelk, while I'm being beat to death by 30 demons.
Is there a jorking combo?
But most of the time, 15 minutes of practice is all you need, and before you know it, you'll be throwing Hadouken from your feet and hacking people apart with a bone saw. For everyone else, it's not hard to gaslight yourself into believing you're good at the game by simply maximizing motion blur and pressing all of your buttons as fast as possible. So let's do an overview of the classes and see what they say about you as a person. First up, the Berserker. If you're playing this class, you're either brand new, or even worse, you're a speedrunner. As a Berserker, your very first weapon is this. I know it looks like a giant sword, but it's actually a giant paintbrush, and they are the paint. And oh, look at that. The ceiling needs a new coat of gray matter. Better get to work. The Berserker specializes in the industrial application of violence through whirlwind-based attacks. It also specializes in invincibility frames, because if you pick the right perks, you're going to be invincible whenever you're spinning, and you're never going to stop spinning. So just set up an auto-clicker and come back in 20 minutes when the final boss is dead. Next class, the Martyr. This one is unlocked later in the game, and fortunately so, because I have it on good authority that the developer was smoking crack when he designed it. While exploring dungeons, all classes can find these red orbs that give helpful bonuses, but they also come with a curse, so you probably only want 2 or 3. The Martyr spawns with 6, and his damage scales based on how many he has. So the typical run will involve at least a dozen curses, which can result in some unexpected and painful gameplay patterns. For example, you might get the modifiers that make enemies clone themselves, release poison gas, slowing ice, projectile nukes, and AoE jump scares every time they die. Try parrying that shit. The final thing that makes the Martyr completely unhinged...
Where's the curse where a VTuber pops up and grabs your balls? I want that one.
Is that it effectively has only one combo. Ultimate ability, attack, 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 attack. That's all you need to have some of the highest DPS in the game.
That's perfect for Asmongold.
I taught a chimpanzee to play Martyr, and 3 hours later, he hanged himself. In conclusion, the term painfully chaotic doesn't even begin to describe Martyr gameplay, and if you enjoy it, you are a special person. One of God's own prototypes, a high-powered mutant of some kind, never even considered for mass production. The Martyr enthusiast is simply too weird to live and too rare to die. On to the next class, the Pirate. If you've ever found yourself in melee combat screaming, oh god, they're stabbing me, what the fuck, then I recommend playing Pirate, because the best way to practice social distancing is with a loaded gun. And this class has everything ranging from flintlock pistols to a literal cannon. Stylistically, very cool, and also very broken. Since the
Can I just say how nice it is to see the indie renaissance happening before my eyes?
Pirate uses projectile weapons, we can pick up the skill Fracture, which doubles, triples, or even quadruples the number of bullets we fire and fans them out in an arc in front of us. Then, by combining that with Echo to repeat all of our projectiles, we can turn our single-shot cannon into an automatic cannonball shotgun. This gets really out of hand.
Look at the damage numbers! Oh my god.
Automatic.
Did you... 48 3,000, and it's 3 times.
Cannonball Shotgun.
Boom,
This gets really out of hand when you
boom.
realize these skills also apply to your ultimate. Black Powder Bomb is a single projectile that deals massive damage. Now, it's 30 projectiles that wipe out an entire city block.
This game probably would give people seizures. Oh
God
my
bless
Lord.
America. If
Hell
for some
yeah.
reason your megalomania still isn't satisfied, just get this legendary item. The Finger of Death is probably the best ability in the game. And guess what?
Is that
It's
a
a
laser beam?
projectile.
Oh
So
my
have
God.
fun wave clearing the entire dungeon with one click.
That's
Next class,
amazing.
the Reaper. If you feel it's unfair that surgeons have a monopoly on the limb amputation market, then this is the class for you. Because all of your
Skelly
skills
boy.
and weapons specialize in turning people into human jigsaw puzzles. When I play this class, I like to roleplay as one of the 7 doctors in all of Canada. And the monsters running toward me are my diabetic patients. I treat them with the most cutting-edge medical
Well, that's you on the
techniques
nose
at
there,
my
Mr.
disposal.
Reggie.
You've got high blood pressure? I'm going to prescribe a sickle to the brain, followed by
now
an
you don't feel
industrial
pain.
bone saw until you're a pile of ground beef. Take 3 times daily. This is a terrific class for society's most well-adjusted members. On to our next class,
Fucking
the
Patrick
Paladin.
Bateman.
In Dante's Inferno, our main
Paladin!
character is guided through the
It's the
9
Savage
levels of hell,
class.
with each one imparting an important lesson upon him. Similarly, each class in Mortal Sin is meant to impart something valuable upon us, the player. The Pirate teaches us the importance of the Second Amendment. The Martyr teaches us the absolute necessity of insane asylums. And the Paladin teaches us the value of blocking. In a game where every enemy is a blood-filled meat piñata, there is a temptation to hold down the attack button and never look back. But as a noble paladin, you must actualize the full power of your mouse by occasionally pressing right mouse button. The paladin utilizes unique skills to summon a rotating crucifix each time he parries an attack. These things are highly dangerous, and you can farm them infinitely, effectively turning you into an industrial-grade
Wait, it's literally like D2 paladins with thorns.
blender. Reject
You're just a
humanity.
blender.
Summon 30 crucifixes and become a kitchen appliance.
For those that don't know, it's like this really cringe fucking like aura paladin build.
Alternatively, you could go for
Yeah,
a
he's a
body slam build.
retribution
This
aura.
skill buffs the damage of your dash
Smacks
ability
him
and
around.
scales it based on your defense. The inevitable
Girl hasn't tried Hammerton, buddy. It's the most broken fucking thing ever.
end point of this is that you clear each dungeon through a series of carefully planned head-on
This guy's
collisions
parry-
while
No, this is a Thorns build because he's parrying and getting back like damage. Hammerton just casts hammers. It's different.
role-playing as A-Train from the boys. And if you're going to go
Yeah.
that far, you may as well pick up Combustive Rush,
fucking
which makes your
educate me.
footsteps
I know better
explode.
than you.
I know all these mangled bodies look bad, but trust me, this is the most humane and pacifistic way to kill an entire room full of people.
Bam,
In
bam,
conclusion,
bam.
Paladin, blend people to death,
Yeah!
explode their loved ones, and worship the Lord. One more class to discuss. If you've ever tried to calculate the profit margins on ripping people apart with your bare hands, congratulations, you're a hoarder. This class forgoes traditional
dragon?
weapons in favor of punching people 500 times. The best part is that by activating your ultimate ability, you can convert human suffering into extra gold in your bank account. Socialists will claim this is an accurate metaphor for late-stage capitalism and the
It is.
undue violence it inflicts upon the proletariat. To that, I confidently respond, so what? If I have so much gold that I can power level to
Typical
500
Canadian.
and blow your head clean off with a right hook, then what I hold in my hand isn't just a
One
weapon, it's the
punch.
truth.
I can't respect poor.
Can you go one video without including Sam Hyde,
Then
sir?
what I hold in my hand isn't just a weapon, it's the truth.
The weak should fear the strong. Thanks, Sam Hyde.
I can't respect poor people. I just stepped in some poor person's aftermath. Disgusting.
On a serious
Disgusting.
note, I think this is the strongest late game class,
Samir
and I'll tell you
Al-Khaid.
why.
Yeah, that's
In
right.
Mortal Sin, you need to spend money to level up, and the Hoarder makes
it's
a
like
lot
Souls.
of money. "Please stop, you're giving me a painful erection," are the last words out of a hoarder's mouth as they overdose on the capitalistic joy of liquefying an entire room of people to make an extra $10,000.
That's literally BlackRock roleplay. Vanguard and BlackRock would do this in an instant if it meant giving them more money. I'm not even joking. That's how fucking horrible these companies are.
However, it goes even deeper than that. They say that time is money, and as a level 20,000 hoarder, I'm going to need to take that too, which is why I equip the Neuroshard helmet. This lets me stop time for everyone else as long as I'm invincible. Then, by maximizing my cooldown reduction, spamming ult, and cycling the Vault Breaker combo, I can become invincible 100% of the time, meaning I have indefinitely stopped the flow of time for everyone who isn't me. Even on a metaphysical level, I'm getting richer than you. And once I figure out the logistics of charging people time...
It's like when Fry drank all that coffee, you're just too fast.
...rent, you better believe we're making this into a business. Now, you may think that's all a little silly. However, until you have frozen time, punched a boss in the chest 600 times, unfroze, and then watched him explode into a million pieces, you can't fully appreciate the beauty of this build. In fact, you could be forgiven for assuming I'm using all of these overpowered strategies for fun. But I'm not. This is a necessity, because the final boss of the game has only been completed by 0.1% of all players. And if you're not walking into that fight with a supervillain level strategy, you won't be walking out.
Absolutely based.
Enimatik, or more fittingly, the filter, is where most people realize they've been playing the game entirely wrong. Prior to Enimatik, you feel like an unstoppable meat grinder of devastation. But once you fight Enimatik, you're going to feel like the main character of a cuckold video. You're in the ethereal plane of human sin, and this guy slaps your girl's ass. What do you do? Answer, you die on the spot, because almost everything he does can one-shot you. I think the worst part about this fight is that he summons two completely invincible demons to chase you around and fuck with you. Sometimes they kick your ass. Other times they just spin your camera around to disorient you into walking off a ledge. But all of the time, I hate them. I never considered being molested by invincible sex devils to be a viable game mechanic. And I still don't. From what I understand, the community is similarly displeased with this boss. But
if I was the dev, I would literally just be like, skill issue.
Don't worry, I've already issued a credible death threat against—
I'm going to fuck you up. Wait. Hi, Reggie. Thanks for reaching out. Blah, 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 blah. I'm going to fuck you up. Nikola Todorovich. Count your days. You're probably Balkan.
the developer, so with any luck, he'll make it even harder. Now that we understand what we're up against, we can start a new game and begin crafting a horribly overpowered build in an attempt to maybe, possibly, with a little luck, defeat Enimatik. But what class should we use to achieve this? Well, after much reflection, I've decided to choose Vampire. But why this class specifically? Well, if you ever find yourself upset that the demons of hell aren't killing you fast enough, and you want to take matters into your own hands, then Vampire is the right class for you. First of all, no health potions. Second of all, our attacks damage us. And third, we've got breast implants. Over dozens of years, the sick gooner will desensitize himself to the point—
Was that cotton? I saw cotton in there.
Will desensitize—
Yep, I sure did.
Sensitize himself to the point where he can't feel anything unless he's watching diaper Pokemon Yowie while stimulating his prostate with a lampshade. Similarly, all masochists will inevitably find themselves playing Vampire because it is the ultimate form of digital flagellation. On a second-by-second basis, our health bar takes a horrific beating, but our ult gives us a huge amount of lifesteal, and with the right skills, it can be completely broken. So let's get to work. We spawn in at the Nexus. This is a safe zone which allows us to craft items, accept quests, and access each of the available areas. To unlock the final zone with Enimatik, we must complete 3 of these dungeons. But before we can choose our first adventure, meet Helena. She is a racially ambiguous fallen angel that offers quests for us to complete in exchange for taking her clothes off. After—
Well, so she's like an ASMR OF girl.
Surveying the list of available
Nice.
quests, I've determined our
Accurate.
optimal route will be Dungeon, Forest, then Vessel. This will
Okay.
maximize our gold gain and get us a high-level weapon right before the final zone. Now, onto the dungeon. This is a vaguely medieval
The sex
labyrinth
dungeon.
full of demons, mechanical traps, and whatever the hell this thing is. If the dungeon was a flavor of ice cream, it would look like vanilla and taste like dried blood, which makes it a great and disgusting place for us to begin our journey. Things start off quite smoothly, just a few unarmed ghouls which we readily brutalize with a stick. Proceeding further, we acquire some random pieces of gear, a couple of skills, and also a new staff. This one slows enemies and, from what I understand,
Makes their blood
boils the
burst.
blood inside their body. Truly marvelous. Delving further into the dungeon, I noticed the
Microwave 'em.
architecture becoming decidedly more hostile. How politically incorrect. Then again, we're over here boiling people alive and ripping their limbs off like a lobster, so I suppose we can't judge. I head into the final section of the dungeon and immediately realize this place was designed by a lunatic. At least
Yeah,
50% of
probably
the square
Balkan.
footage is actively trying to kill me. Every wall has tumors, and they've engineered spinning blade towers to carve us up like a turkey. On the upside, these traps also work
Canadian
against the
Thanksgiving was
demons,
last
so I
month.
spent most of my time kicking people into them. Eventually, the mini-boss spawned in
smart.
to kill us, but I managed to get him stuck on the blade
Yeah,
tower, and
get
after
him.
losing 75% of his limbs, we were able to finish him off with a kick to the spine.
Yeah,
Coincidentally,
get
this
him.
also caused us to step on the pink pressure plate and activate our quest. Helena wants us to kill the mutants in exchange for a large sum of gold, and they're starting to spawn in now. You can tell they're mutants because it looks like they were all made using spare parts, and the more you stare at them, the
They're
less
like
comfortable
aliens.
you get.
Ew.
So we give them the old razzle-dazzle and escape the dungeon to turn in our quest. To reward us for beating all of those disabled people to death, Helena gives us 50,000 gold, which I promptly invest at the leveling shrine. At this point, our build is what I would consider random bullshit, but we've got 2 more dungeons left to figure it out. So let's move on to the next quest in the
All right, I'm
forest.
ready, Reggie.
This dungeon would be more aptly titled The Farm, because we are a nice long
We're
stalk of
farming.
wheat, and everyone here wants to harvest us violently. However, by twirling our staff at the speed of sound, we are able to harvest them first, easily clearing the first few
Farm 'em.
rooms and finding a new
It's
pair
on
of
us, work
boots.
chat.
These have a 12-inch long spike on them for lobotomizing people with our feet. The future of brain surgery has never looked brighter. Heading into the next room, I lobotomize my way to the quest marker and activate it. Our objective is to hold this circle against waves of enemies for about 30 seconds. This was easily
not too long.
accomplished by bludgeoning everyone to death with a crucifix and letting the others walk onto the rotating buzz saws in the floor. That'll be an easy 100,000 gold once we get back to Helena.
This is so up
Proceeding
my
into the
alley.
final room, we're starting to fight much higher level monsters, which is concerning. However, if it has limbs, I can make it not
Kill
have
it!
limbs. That is my presidential promise to you, dear viewer. Our
You're not American. You're Canadian. You can't even be a president.
run almost ends twice when I
Silly.
accidentally sprint into these
Chad, I'd
flying
vote for him.
skulls.
I
But
would.
after life-stealing my way
But
to
I'm a
safety,
woman,
I find
so
a
I
warlock
don't know.
who summoned them and make him disappear in a puff of red mist. Forest completed. Back to Helena, we grab our quest reward, power level a bit, and prepare for the next dungeon, the Vessel. This is a
Vessel.
pirate-themed area, which, if I'm trying to be nice, has a lot of character. If I'm trying to be accurate,
Spooky
this is
ghosts.
just pirate-themed cock and
Spooky
ball
cat
torture. Do you ever want to
skeletons.
open a door and get shot in the face by a cannon? You ever want to be penetrated by 13 men at the same
No,
time?
I'm
Maybe
okay.
get dominated
I'm not an
by a
OF girl.
shark with legs? The Vessel aggressively caters to these needs. It's the hardest dungeon by far, but
is
it also has
CBT
some
for
good loot.
sure.
So let's give it a shot. Entering the Vessel, I quickly get to work emulsifying Long John Dickweed and his band of pirate followers, being especially cautious to avoid the rotating lawnmower blades they use as decor. After that, we come across a skill shrine and receive an upgraded hot streak. This gives us a 280% damage boost
Crit!
after scoring a crit.
We
Probably
love
the
crit.
best pure DPS perk for this class. Moving through the Vessel, each room has a higher density of cannons than the
my
last,
God.
and it quickly gets to the point where if we stop moving for even a second,
You
we will
die.
die. So I activate this shrine in order to grant us a move speed buff. However, it comes with a curse which respawns all enemies in the room whenever I step on one of these pressure plates. You could view this as a downside just because it's written in red, blood. Or you could be illiterate and colorblind and never know the difference. These things are all about perspective. Continuing onward, we pick up a new blood cross staff, which lets us summon a maximum of 6 rotating crucifixes around us. This pairs well with our current strategy of darting around like a crackhead, because the crosses can pulverize whoever we bump into. Time for our quest, the Immortal Construct Challenge. Here we are in the cramped hallway of a dilapidated pirate ship, and when I step on this pressure plate, it's going to spawn an invincible and highly sexual aggressive demon to chase us. Our objective, do not get molested. I don't understand what sick satisfaction Helena is hoping to get out of this, but she's offering us a new weapon, so we've got to give it a shot. I hit the button and the pursuer spawns in. As if avoiding my own rape wasn't traumatizing enough, we have to also manage this while being shot at and chased by anthropomorphic sharks. Fortunately, by domestically abusing the dash button, we are able to remain unmolested and complete the quest. The carnage continues until we hit the final room. This one is usually pretty challenging because it spawns 2 mini-bosses that can one-shot you. However, we have so many rotating crucifixes that whenever they get close, their arms and legs are peeled off instantly. So we complete the final room with ease and head back to the Nexus. With all 3 dungeons complete, we have finally unlocked the last area, the Maw of Sin. This zone is absolutely dripping in Eclipse aesthetic, except at the end, instead of Griffith violating Casca, he's going to violate you. Once we enter, we'll have to fight through 2 kill rooms, the embodiment of sin, and then, if we're powerful enough, we can try to kill Enimatik. So I go ahead and grab our new weapon from Helena and enter the Maw. The first room finds us trapped in a circular arena with about a dozen high-level demons. The cramped nature of this can be challenging. However, it also works to our advantage since we picked up the perk Manifest Weapon. Every time we combo, we summon ethereal rotating axes to hack apart our enemies, which allows us to quickly convert small rooms like this into large-scale meat grinders. Right now, it's only level 1, but as we progress, this will become a central part of our build. Using that, we made it through the first and second kill rooms with no problem. Now we get to fight the embodiment of sin. Like any well-adjusted man, he climbs out of the floor and begins assaulting us with a giant mallet. In response, I employ the ultimate combo of running away. It's hard to see in this visual setting, but this boss is actually an amalgamation of dead bodies grafted onto some kind of homunculus. 10 out of 10 design. Now, let's kill him. I get to work stacking my crucifixes and chopping away at his lower half. As long as we parry everything, we'll slowly wear him down. In fact, I've already managed to grind off one of his legs. He's now summoning flying skulls, which can easily one-shot you if they land at the same time. So we use our ultimate to get some invincibility frames, dash through the skulls, and rip off the boss's left arm. Using that move once more, we also managed to get his other arm. He is now hopping away from us on one leg, so we corner him and tear it off. The forced removal of all limbs results in his immediate death. For my first 10 hours playing the game, I actually thought this was the final boss, but it's not. Through that portal is Enimatik, the real final boss, and through this portal is New Game Plus. For the vast majority of people, you're not going to be ready to fight Enimatik on your first run. Typically, you want to do New Game Plus to get better gear and skills. To illustrate this point, I will now attempt to kill Enimatik with my absolute dog shit build.
And you're dead.
That was an abject failure. On to New Game Plus. We enter the portal and arrive back at the Nexus on New Game Plus. This resets every dungeon and gives us a new list of quests. However, it also gives all enemies a power boost. This scales linearly. For the Redditors out there, that means straight line. Our goal is to, over the next 15 to 20 runs, gradually outscale the difficulty curve by accepting the right quests, picking the right skills, and farming enough gold. In theory, if we do this, we can deliberately craft a broken build and possibly defeat Enimatik. However, it's going to take a long-ass time, so I'll give you the highlights. New Game Plus 1 all the way to New Game Plus 5, we focused on...
You need 5 runs to beat the final boss?
Finding gear with good skills attached to it, then farming Helena for equipment upgrade quests. Only real members of my ethnically enriched...
I don't know what it is about anime girls being next to thugs. It makes me laugh, dude.
neighborhood know that this is the most
They get the
consistent
top
way to
bitches,
become
that's right.
overpowered. Because Helena absolutely juices the stat lines on your gear. Piece of
She's
shit boots you found at
yoking?
level
She's
1?
yoking?
Yeah, upgrade them once and they're going to last you the rest of your life. At some point during New Game 5, we also stumbled onto a secret portal which teleported us to the witch's hut. This is a rare encounter within a rare encounter. And we were able to trade with the witch to receive our first legendary item,
She's hot! She's hot! Chat, see? See, indie game devs don't care. Oh my god, look at it. Dude, she looks like Yennefer. Does she not? Bro, nah, this is peak. Oh no, she's hot! Oh lord. Alana, stop gooning. I'm not gooning, I'm appreciating what this guy put into the game.
Callistra's Embrace.
She could ruin my
This
life.
is where our build finally starts coming together, because every time we level up our combo meter, this helmet spawns in a black hole, which pulls in our enemies before exploding them into a million
Nice!
pieces.
Holy.
This gives us a tremendous amount of control over large groups of monsters.
That's really good for that stupid fight at the end, because then you can control the two dummies that come at you.
And pairs really well with our rotating axes. As a demon finds themselves sucked into the event horizon of a collapsing star, they ask themselves, how could this day get any worse? Only for a flying
get
hatchet to
blown
materialize out of thin air and cave in their skull. Picking up that helmet was a huge power spike, and as we level up our skills further, it's going to get ridiculous. Moving through New Game Plus 6, we managed to pick up a Spectral Mace. This is our highest DPS option for the vampire, and by spamming upgrades on it, we've turned it into an instant kill on almost every monster. By New
Nice.
Game 10, we're now at level 2000.
It's a little bit overkill, is it not? When's the
With
final
200%
boss?
damage, 51% damage reduction, 30% speed, and 50% crit chance.
a lot.
However, more importantly, we found a new pair of boots. The Phantom Treads of Protection give us a chance to avoid damage in
Based on
proportion
your
to our
crit.
current luck. At 100% luck, this becomes very broken. But even at 50%, it's a huge boost to our survivability. With all of these new upgrades, I decided it was time for us to once again
Is it-
challenge Enimatik.
is it time?
And so began my 6-hour-long descent into
6
insanity. Enter the
hours?
Maw of Sin, kill a bunch of demons,
Dude, Reggie is one of the only fucking YouTubers that does shit like this, where they autism out on a game and is like, yeah, I spent 6 hours beating a boss.
blow this guy's back out, and
For the
fight
content.
Enimatik. We do better, but still get crucified. Okay, let's try that again. One more time. Back to grinding. Kill 50,000 demons, level up 500 times. Enimatik again, and done. More demons, more gear, more levels,
got
more
close.
death. Try using a sword, try using your fists, kicking him in the face, different visual settings, complain to the developer,
Complain to the
settings, complain to the
Man, you're really close. Just a few small slips that are really punishing due to the nature. The video is on tournament. Oh my god.
developer.
He actually went and complained to him.
Contemplate assisted suicide. Doesn't matter, keep dying.
Canadian.
This is the difficulty
It's
of the
okay, you can make a
gameplay
joke.
loop. You can level up 1,000 times, but if your build isn't right, it's only going to make a marginal difference against Enimatik. Right now, we're struggling for more DPS. Fortunately, by level 2300, we had a stroke of luck. While exploring a dungeon, we came across Divino's Decree. These are legendary gloves with the Finger of Death ability.
Legendary.
It turns your thrusts into spammable laser beam death rays.
Ooh, big-
This
big
is
dam-
big.
big
Following
damage.
that, we did a run focused on maxing out all of our other skills, which has resulted in our final and most complete build, which I am now
Alright.
titling Cosmic Blender Death Camp. Allow me to explain. We have max level Manifest Weapon and Singularity. So
Okay.
whenever we level up our combo meter, we summon a black hole and a blender full of axes. Typically, leveling up your combo meter is done by doing combos. However, killing people also helps a little. But by taking and upgrading the skill Combo Mastery, killing people now helps a lot. In fact, I've realized that the combination of these
Camp?
three
Yeah,
skills
camp.
allows us to kill an
Term?
entire room full of demons while being being AFK. All we have to do is
Sick.
level up our combo meter
Is it
once.
enough
This
now?
summons a black hole and a bunch of axes. The black hole pulls everyone inward, forcing them into the axes, which kill them. The blending of a dozen people at a
Holy.
time causes our
black
combo
holes
meter to
are?
level up multiple times. This results
like
in
5
an
of them
indefinite
up.
chain reaction of people being sucked into black holes
Yeah,
and
there we
processed
go.
into pulled pork. Like it or not, but
Tasty.
Cosmic Blender Death Camp is the pinnacle of room-clearing technology.
Amazing.
Now at last, by level 4000, we have reached our final form. It's time to kill Enimatik once and for all.
Let's go!
Alexa, play lo-fi beats to study and kill demons to.
Laser death beam! Oh! There's Billy. I saw Billy. I like that he slowed it down. My bitrate
So far, so
appreciates
good.
that.
The only thing before us now is the big man. If we want to defeat him, this will need to be a mechanical symphony of everything we've learned up to this point. Phase 1, high burst damage with Finger of Death. Spam blood crosses and black holes while he's invincible. Parry any basic attacks and use ult to avoid the black dome of death.
Oh, 'cause he's
Phase
immune,
2,
yeah.
basically the same as Phase 1, but now we have to also avoid being sodomized. Phase 3 is where shit gets real. The floor is replaced by moving platforms, and the boss is tweaking out as if he just received a crystal meth enema. Honestly, an ass full of amphetamines is probably the best way to get through this part, because I've died here at least 100 times. But
Oh my
that ends
God.
now. Enimatik spawns in, beats the shit out of Helena, and we get to
not
work.
Babe! No, don't touch her! Bam, 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 bam. This is sick. Get him, Reggie! You
レジ
died.
ー、ゲタップ、It is not your time.
No! It's not your time, Reggie. Keep going. Beat him up. Oh my god, 1%! He did it! How much grinding was that?
Dear God, I can't believe he's dead.
0.1%.
I've been farming Enimatik attempts all afternoon, and now my soul can rest.
Finally.
Following this, we're teleported onto a floating rock where Helena gives
Wow.
us some exposition. But I was too hyped up from that fight to actually understand any of it, and I became especially confused after
That's the testosterone of being a man. Woman's like, oh, thank you for saving me. And you're like tweaking out.
she dropped to her knees in front of me. I'm not going to lie,
Wow!
receiving oral sex from an angel while floating through oblivion
That's kinda
could
hot.
have been the greatest video game ending of all
Look at her
time.
honkers, too. Hideo Kojima.
Unfortunately, that's not the case here. In fact, after 30
Aw,
seconds of being confused, I
pissed.
accidentally kicked Helena in the face and killed her on the spot. I know this looks bad, but it's actually the good ending. Get ready for a lore dump. Turns out a race of angels called the Tarculents designed Enimatik as a machine to aggregate, contain, and mechanically purify all of human sin. Think of it like DeviantArt being moderated by Grok AI. What a daring concept. However, we as a species are so profoundly degenerate that
Yeah,
Enimatik
so everyone
decided,
kill
holy
everyone."
shit, it would just be easier if everyone was dead.
So,
Which,
yeah, so you just got Thanos snapped. I got it.
from a problem-solving perspective, I can respect. Fortunately, we killed him. However, Helena is worried that the Tarculents will build another. Which brings us, officer, to why I'm standing in front of a dead hooker. Enimatik
So I killed her because at the end of the day, I'm gonna save everyone.
draws his
It
power
went
from
full
divine
Tron, yeah.
entities such as Helena. So if there's no Helena, then there's no Enimatik. I really wish she told me that part before I spent 25
She
hours
did! You
killing
didn't listen to her
demons,
'cause she's a
because I
woman!
would have set a new land speed record for kicking her square in the jaw as soon as I started the game. But either way, it's all over now. Enimatik is dead, Helena is on the underside of my shoe, and we are the Vampire Lord. Thank you again to Mortal Sin for sponsoring this video. This is genuinely one of my favorite games all year. Thank you to this month's patrons for supporting the channel, and finally, thank you for watching.
Yay! Wow, wow, wow. Ooh! Yay! Go check them out. Go support his Patreon. Let's go! That was an awesome fucking video, dude. That was wicked. Dad, did you like that? And he picked the big titty woman. So, I mean, we're all winners here.